Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession is about to enter the hall. We will be singing the National Anthem, the words of which are on page 11 of your program. Please now stand for the academic procession and remain standing for the National Anthem. Thank you.
I, Catherine Branston, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, declare open this congregation convened for the purpose of presenting degrees. Distinguished guests, including our honorary doctorate recipient, the Honourable Christopher Pine, and Mr. James Stevens, Federal Member for Sturt, parents, relatives, friends, and especially graduates. Welcome to the University of Adelaide's graduation ceremony. Gana Miana, Gana Yata, Nadlu Tampandi. In English, we acknowledge we're on the lands of the Kaurna people. We acknowledge all Kaurna people, past and present, the original custodians of the Adelaide Plains, and thus of the land on which the University of Adelaide's campuses are built. We acknowledge the Kaurna people's ongoing spiritual connection to this important land. Graduation days are joyous days, days to celebrate past housework and present success. Graduates, Your graduation is an event of which you can be most proud, and those who supported you, close family and friends, can be proud as well. And it is a source of pride and satisfaction to the university as well, and to all those who taught you so effectively. Graduation Day is a day to reflect, both on the past and on the future. This day may well signal a significant change of direction in your life. Whatever direction your life may take from here, the knowledge you have acquired and the skills that you've learnt at this fine university should stand you in good stead, not only in your working and professional life, but we hope in all aspects of your future life. I now call on the Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Peter Hoy, to present the candidate for an honorary degree.
Thank you, Chancellor. Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present to you an outstanding candidate for admission to the honorary degree of Doctor of the University Honoris Causa, the Honourable Christopher Maurice Pyne. This award is being bestowed on Mr. Pyne in recognition of his career contribution to the state and the nation in advancing defence, industry and educational opportunities through his role as a Cabinet Minister of Federal Government and member in the Parliament of the Commonwealth of Australia. Christopher Pyne demonstrated an early enthusiasm for politics, which was cultivated during his time as a law student at the University of Adelaide. He was president of the Adelaide University Liberal Club from 1987 to 1988 and became president of the South Australian Young Liberals from 1988 to 1990. While still in his early 20s, he set his sight on Canberra, and in 1993 he was successful in winning election at the age of 25 as the member for Sturt in South Australia. Mr. Pyne served as a frontbench member in government and opposition for 16 years, including 6 years as a cabinet minister in the key portfolios of education, industry, innovation and science, defence industry and defence. At his retirement from politics in 2019, he was, after 26 years in Parliament, the longest-serving non-Labor member of the House of Representatives from South Australia since Federation. A passionate and hard-working advocate for enhancing Australia's defence capability, Mr. Pyne was responsible for implementing the largest modernisation of the Australian Defence Force since the Second World War, increasing the Australian government's investment in defence capability to almost $200 billion, and laying the foundation for a strong defence industry sector for decades to come. In doing so, he was instrumental in also securing the $50 million Future Submarines project for South Australia to build the attack class fleet. His advocacy and leadership in the defence portfolio and for South Australia was widely recognised in the Federal Parliament and beyond. And it has been recognised here at the University of Adelaide. As a leader in defence research for Australia, the University of Adelaide has benefited from Mr. Pyne's advocacy and support for opportunities in his home state. The Naval Shipbuilding Plan, announced in 2017 by Mr. Pyne and former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, is the largest naval shipbuilding and sustainment program ever undertaken in Australia. It is widely acknowledged by defence industry leaders that the shipbuilding plan will provide long-term certainty for the industry, fueling innovation and growth for small to medium enterprises, delivering employment opportunities in a wide range of roles for more than 5,000 shipbuilding workers in the next years. Those numbers are expected to double across the supply chains that support the sector. An advocate for science, technology and education, Mr. Pine also developed the National Innovation and Science Agenda, which delivered more than $1 billion to underpin research and industry collaboration, skills development, and support for innovative startups. He reformed the national curriculum and expanded phonics teaching in remote schools in Northern Australia. Mr. Pine was also responsible for creating the Youth Mental Health Initiative, Headspace, in 2006, which works with young people to strengthen their ability to manage their mental health through a range of programs across Australia. In a long career of dedicated public service, Mr. Pine has been an agent for change, committed to providing opportunities for this community. Chancellor, I'm pleased to present to you the Honourable Christopher Morris Pine, Bachelor of Laws, Graduate Diploma Legal Practice, for admission to the Honorary degree of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa.
It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you today's graduation orator, the Honourable Dr. Christopher Morris Pine.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor and President, distinguished guests, members of staff, ladies and gentlemen, and particularly graduates, I am humbled and grateful to have been awarded an honorary doctorate by my alma mater, the University of Adelaide. It is an honour I never expected. Thank you to the Chancellor and to the Council of the University for their generosity. As a fourth-generation graduate of the University of Adelaide, I'm sure my father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-uncle, my brothers, my wife and my children, one of my children and nephew and two nieces who either have attended or are attending the university are just as pleased. While I'm certain that my fellow undergraduates from the 1980s, my lecturers and tutors from the law school, and in fact Professor Lemire, who's one of my former undergraduate colleagues, shall we say, are gathering their thoughts about their letters of congratulations that they'll be sending to me. I spent a lot less time in the law school than I did in student politics at the SURA, I can assure you. Congratulations to those who are graduating today. Despite the opportunities presented to you by graduating from such an esteemed institution, and despite how much you have to look forward to, you do have significant challenges ahead. Today I'd like to talk briefly about one of those. How likely is the likelihood of a kinetic war in the Indo-Pacific? Not a cyber war, but a real one, involving loss of life, destruction of military platforms, with aggressors and defenders on different sides. 5 years ago, I would have said that the possibility was very unlikely. Now, I would have to say that the possibility is more likely than it was then. This isn't rhetoric. This is something that you and I may well have to confront in the next 5 to 10 years. Unfortunately, the strategic defence posture of the People's Republic of China is not as benign as it was, as it needs to be to comfort the United States and its allies. The reality is that China is confident and capable and is not embarrassed to show it. Hence, the government of Xi Jinping feels it can bring Hong Kong under complete control from Beijing in a way that it hadn't until 2020. China can stare down international criticism of its treatment of the ethnic Uyghur minority in Western China. It feels strong enough to press its claims over the South China Sea, and despite assuring the Second Obama administration in Washington that it would not militarise reefs and shoals, go ahead and do so anyway. Most concerning of it all, it has turned up pressure on Taiwan, the most likely next flashpoint in the region. Western security analysts and agencies write that China feels stronger emerging from the coronavirus pandemic than it did before, especially relative to the handling of the pandemic by its Western competitors. In a speech to the Chinese Communist Party National Congress in the last month, President Xi told the delegates that he wanted the Chinese military to concentrate on combat readiness. He described the security environment as unstable and uncertain, and explained that he'd asked the Chinese military to coordinate the relationship between capacity building and combat readiness, and be prepared to respond to a variety of complex and difficult situations, and resolutely safeguard national sovereignty, security and development interests. None of this can be waved away by Western analysts as just a speech designed to appeal to the true believers in the Chinese Communist Party. It was a very clear message to the incoming administration of President Joe Biden. The commander of the US Indo-Pacific Forces, Admiral Philip Davidson, explained as much to the US Congress committee he addressed at the same time, telling them that he believes China could invade Taiwan in the next 6 years. While the United States still accounts for $1 in every $2 spent on the military in the world, a staggering statistic, China's published defence spend will be $210 billion in 2021. China's military is very capable in an asymmetric war against the US and its allies around the island chains of the Western Indo-Pacific and Southeast Asia. Australia is one of those allies. For that reason and many others, avoiding any kind of war is our paramount defence and foreign policy priority as a nation. That will not be achieved by hiving ourselves off from our allies like the US, Japan and India. In fact, the opposite is true. President Biden's first defence directive, the Interim National Security Guidance, specifically referenced the renewal of multi- and bilateral security alliances as an administration priority and named Australia as the first such relationship. In the last few weeks, the Prime Ministers of Japan, Yoshihide Suga, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, President Biden and Prime Minister Morrison came together for the first leaders' meeting of the Quadrilateral. The Quad is a dialogue. While the first leaders' meeting focused on the four nations' response to the coronavirus pandemic, it also reaffirmed the four nations' commitment to mutual support and a free and peaceful Indo-Pacific. This was President Biden's first multilateral dialogue. His White House initiated it. The Quad has been reborn in recent years through meetings of officials and then foreign and defence ministers. India invited Australia to rejoin the military exercises known as Malabar in late 2020 that also include Japan and the US. The elevation of the Quad to the incoming US President's first multi-leader dialogue cannot be overestimated. It is a clear signal to China that regardless of what has gone before, the Biden administration will be returning to an engaging and orthodox foreign and defence policy. This is welcome news for us all. It is in no one's interest to adopt a policy of containment of China. Rather, it is in everyone's interest to promote a policy of engagement with China that lifts all the boats across our region. Freer trade, open and transparent markets, reliable financial institutions and apparatus, more liberal movement of money and people, these features all bring about a more integrated and therefore a likely more peaceful region than the alternative. And that's why I'm optimistic. Australia takes its responsibilities as an important player in the Indo-Pacific very seriously. We are a significant economy, a long-standing and stable supporter of the international rules-based order, and a reliable friend of like-minded countries in the region. As a good international citizen, we can and do play an important role in emphasising our shared interests rather than conflicting ones. Our handling of the coronavirus pandemic in the last year is not the only reason our neighbours in the Indo-Pacific look to Australia as a light in the world. A few years ago, I was the Minister for Education in the Abbott government in Australia. I had the privilege of attending the ASEAN Plus Education Ministers meeting in Vientiane in Laos. When I met the President, he remarked that the two largest companies operating in Laos were Australian mining companies, and he was delighted to tell me that they were popular with the government because they always paid their tax. I was proud to think that Australia was spreading to other countries the liberating opportunities given through employment, fair wages, better working conditions, and fair taxation that should be the hallmark of every economy. You are graduates today of one of the most highly regarded universities in the world. There are over 11,000 such institutions on the globe. The University of Adelaide is in the very top echelon. Our state has produced a third of Australia's Nobel Prize winners, from less than a tenth of the nation's population. But as it says in the Psalms, to those whom much is given, much is expected. For that reason, you and I have an obligation to give. It's vital that you believe in yourselves and believe in your country. Australia has too often underestimated our influence. Australia traditionally, and again in recent times, has led our region on free trade, open markets and liberal economies. It was Australia that led to the creation of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in the 90s, 80s and 90s, and now more recently the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The world has looked to Australia on policies surrounding foreign interference, the involvement of state-owned enterprises in our 5G communications network, academic and research collaboration, and multilateral economic and security engagement. This leadership will continue because Australians like you believe in your ability to make a difference, and you have every reason to do so. The challenges we face right now in managing the emergence of China as one of the two superpowers in the world will shape our world for the next many decades. You can shape Australia and the West's management of that dynamic. It will be the most important foreign and defence policy challenge in your lifetimes. Handled well, every boat can be lifted. Handled badly could well lead to global catastrophe. The stakes are too high to leave it to others to resolve. It is every one of our responsibilities. You are amongst the smartest and most capable of your generation. As every generation is more knowledgeable and has more opportunities than the last, I feel confident that we're in good hands. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the students here today graduating and the families, I would like to offer my sincere thanks to the Honourable Dr. Christopher Morris Pyne for that stimulating and galvanising address. And thank you for sharing your words of encouragement with us, your knowledge, your experience and your wisdom. It's a timely reminder for all of us that we must be always grateful for our education and that there is an incumbent responsibility upon all of us to make the most of our careers, to realise our full potential, and then to yield back the products of our intellect and of our humanity to this society for the betterment of our culture, to take care of our people, and to lift the tide for everyone. Please now join me in thanking once again the Honourable Dr. Christopher Morris Pyne.
Chancellor, I, Professor Peter Hoy, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, certify to you and the whole university that the graduates who will be presented to you have all fulfilled the conditions prescribed for admission to the award for which they are so presented.
I, Catherine Branson, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, by virtue of the power committed to me by the University, confirm that each graduate is admitted to the rank and privileges of a holder of the award in which the University of Adelaide for which they are so presented. I call on the Dean of Law of the Adelaide Law School, Professor Melissa de Zwart, to present the graduates.
Chancellor, I, Professor Melissa de Zwart, Dean of Law at the Adelaide Law School, present to you the graduates from the Adelaide Law School to the degree of Bachelor of Laws. Hamish Sean Allen. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Yasmin Aruri. Amelia Jane Atkinson. Lauren Grace Bagshaw. Andrew James Baker. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Luke Peter Barnett. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Henry Oscar Bazadow. Simone Cara Basso. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Corporate Finance and the Diploma in Languages, Tyson James Bateman. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Development, Alexandra Lauren Beale. Kalina Irina Becker. Samuel John Beer. Lincoln James Bennett. Simona Amelia Bergerman. Angelica Maria Bolella. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Media, Matthew Richard Bowie. Rose Scarlett Bradley. Rainier Brandt. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Ashley Sarah Broadbent. Adele Simone Brooks. Elijah Matthew Kayon. Tessa Christine Cartledge. Eleanor Margaret Cattrall. Lauren Alicia Chalmers. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Hugo David Chapman. Lauren Clark. Hannah Charlotte Coombe. Nicholas William Cook. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Social Sciences, Matilda Fester Cooch. Mary Frances Ann Darmody. Richie Dylan Davis. Caitlin Nicole Day. Alexander Salvatore Dorno. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Olivia De Stefano. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Abigail De Vera. Christina Devitsidis. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Ridmi Gethmani Diaz. Sophie Kate Dickinson. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Vittoria Ella Dotenzio. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Jack Edwin Collins Eccleston. Emmeline Edwards. Natasha Amira El Shafi. Tan Sandy Lee Elder. Syed Shakar Faiz. Alajiadura Joel Shahan Fernando. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Vinuri Lawanya Ganji. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Peter Theodore Gardiakis. Christina Gavriluk. Mitchell James Goldner. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Bashid Golshani. Rebecca Jane Gooden. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Nicholas John Griffin. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Matthew Anthony Rowley Grishkowiak. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Claire Ashley Sterling Hale. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Oliver Morden Hales. Olivia Zoe Harms. Harry Ian Edward Hayward. Alana Elise Heaft. Sophie Grace Healy. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Louise Elizabeth Henry. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Stephanie Huang. Also receiving the Diploma in Languages, India Rose Morris Hopkins. Gemma Victoria Hunter. Mariah Estelle Economopoulos. Georgina Ann Irving. James Daniel Jakubowski. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Farkonda Jamili. Georgia Ivy Djokovic. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Tom Keldis. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Alexandra Kenny. Emily Marie Karen. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Accounting, Alice Kerins. Ruby Joanna Kirk. Jason Cloden. Callum Nicholas Crotterfill. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Adam Lahn. Justine May Lacasandile. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Finance, Roman Lamb. Bronwyn Marie Larkins. Brandon Fu Lee. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Theola Shan Ying Lee. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Cynthia Laitman. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Emma Claire Lewis. Matthew William Lindner. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Ryan Lovell. Julie K. Lumasag. Fiona Wan Jin Lu. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Rory Malcolm MacDonald. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Madison Jane McCard. Elizabeth Louise MacDonald. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Corporate Finance, Charlotte Mary Aileen Kelly McGowan. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Health Sciences, Rhys Andrew McLaughlin. Sarah Ann Milbank. William Alfred John Miller. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Milton Daniel Mitsioulis. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Science and the Diploma in Languages, Hayley Victoria Eve Mohachi. Joshua Somang Moon. Sam Morton. John Andrew Murta. Sheldon Ng. Stephanie Namikos. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Eilish Noon. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Science, Claire Ellen Omani. Angus Luke Owen. Vicky Alexandra Papanikoulas. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Joseph Robert Parnas. Peter George Pedler. Georgia Irene Penglis. James Laurent Louis Peters. Neil Kim Pfeiffer. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Media, Maria Positano. Christos Sotirios Pouros. Jan Lee Quach. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Environmental Policy and Management, Declan James Reedy. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce and the Diploma in Languages, Robert Rowe. Victoria Elizabeth Roll. Mitchell Romanowski. Marta Olivia Rutkiewicz. Bilal Salih. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Lucy Isabella Sayers. Irini Pamela Sindanis. Molly Shanahan. Daniel George Shajas. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Commerce, Costa Christopher Sinodinos. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Alex Scoos Fields. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Finance, Stephen Andrew Slimming. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Lee Swift. And Sophia Giannina Lee C. To the degree of Bachelor of Laws with Honours, Laura Elizabeth Orbison. Also receiving the degree of Bachelor of International Studies, Edwina Catherine Lane. And Mitchell Francis Stapleton Curry. Chancellor, this concludes the graduates from the Adelaide Law School and for this ceremony.
Chancellor, Every year, the university presents university medals to acknowledge the most outstanding graduates in each faculty who have completed a University of Adelaide bachelor's degree with honours or bachelor's degree of at least 4 years duration. The university medals are awarded to them for their consistent, outstanding performance across the whole of their undergraduate studies. I, Professor Peter Hoy, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you recipients of the 2020 University Medal from the Adelaide Law School. Frankie Madeleine Murphy. And Mitchell Francis Stapleton Curry.
I'm very pleased now to present to you India Rose Morris Hopkins, who was presented this morning with the Bachelor of Laws. India Rose Morris Hopkins will now give the Valedictory Address on behalf of the cohort of graduates who are presented with their awards this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, the Honourable Catherine Branson, members of faculty, families and friends near and afar, and most especially, welcome to the graduating class of 2021. At our graduation today, we celebrate the end of one of the most significant chapters of our lives, being at university. It is tempting when we look at our testimonials and transcripts to see just a list of subjects and numbers and an end result. These pieces of paper, however, cannot even begin to describe our experiences at university. They are by far only a fraction of what we are leaving here with today and are no match for the priceless memories, friendships, lessons, and experiences we have gained. Being at law school has been about far more than just learning the subjects and learning the law. It has also been about all the amazing experiences outside of and alongside our studies. Perhaps that was testing your courage in mooting or other competitions, getting involved in clinical legal education, going to law balls, pub crawls, and quiz nights, undertaking internships and clerkships, or diving into overseas opportunities such as study tours and exchanges. However, out of all these opportunities and experiences, it is all about the graduates here today and all the people around us who have made it so memorable. Over the last few years, we have gone from feeling entirely new and nervous on our first day of university and law school to being enveloped by and becoming part of this wonderful community of people who motivated and encouraged us along the way. Strong friendships have been made over morning coffees at St. Raph's and over finding another person who has also accidentally chosen all 9 a.m. classes because you both thought it would be easy to get up for. We studied for hours in the law library in solidarity with each other as we churned through the endless hours of assignments and lectures, and we strategized where to sit in the lecture theatre to avoid the capture mic being thrown in our direction. For some of us, law was also just one of the many commitments in our lives, balanced alongside existing careers and families. None of this would have been possible without the unfailing love and support of our family and friends. Family and friends have helped shape who we are today, even through simple reminders such as to eat and sleep in amongst the late night study, and by constantly encouraging us to keep going. My mother has been by my side every step of the way for my education, from teaching me my ABCs in preschool to university studies and beyond, and I cannot thank her enough for her support, kindness, compassion, and selflessness. I feel incredibly fortunate to have studied at Adelaide Law School. When I was 15, I decided that I wanted to become a human rights lawyer. This was truly a leap forward from me briefly wanting at age 9 to become a famous tennis player, despite having absolutely no talent for tennis, even on a good day. I therefore began my law studies with an idea of who and what I wanted to become in the future. And, to my delight, my personal hopes and interests were well and truly ignited in my first international law seminar. Being at university has given us the unique and extraordinary opportunity to develop and grow our passions, or to discover and be inspired by entirely new ones. I feel deeply honoured and thrilled to have been invited to speak for all of us as graduates. In preparing to speak this morning, I thought about what it means for us to be here today and to have completed a law degree. From our first Foundations of Law seminars, we have rigorously learned the difference between a fact and an assumption, between reasoning and guessing. We have been exposed to a wide range of legal subjects, from contracts to torts, public law to criminal law, constitutional law to corporate law. However, studying law is not simply about acquiring knowledge of law, but also knowledge about law. We can consider both the direct and indirect social and political impacts of the legal profession in society, with many law graduates involved in politics and social justice. Legal practitioners also function in society as keepers of the law, through courts or through other law enforcing mechanisms. The law maintains our democracy and upholds the structures, principles, and processes preserving justice in society. However, social justice and criminal justice do not exist on separate planes. The law reflects our most critical values, acting as a mirror to our society and culture, and legal solutions display the ethical and human dimensions of the law. This includes law surrounding gender equality, racial equality, anti-discrimination laws, the environment, or, most recently, law reform concerning same-sex marriage and the decriminalisation of abortion. The law is not separate from who we are as human beings, and neither does legal practice exist in a vacuum. Laws will evolve as our societal values change, and we can choose to reject complacency and contribute to this process of continual reform. As we learnt in Evidence and Advocacy, no one is born a great advocate. Neither are we born brilliant lawyers. However, we are here today with all the tools and skills to become one. As we embark on our careers, we will undoubtedly make mistakes as well as experience mediocre moments. However, we can learn from these moments and choose not to be limited by them. We will have to be bold and brave to do so. Pursuing a career in law is not determinative of becoming an advocate, and whether we choose to pursue a career in law or otherwise, we have the unique ability, skills, and opportunity to foster justice, to be committed to equality, fairness, and humanity, to stand up for our beliefs and stand up for the voiceless, and, moreover, to understand why things are as they are and how they could be different. Over the past few years, we have all received an education that has been shaped by our hard work, grit, passion, imagination, resilience, and ambition. I can only hope that our paths ahead will be as wonderful, challenging, and rewarding as the last few years have been. There is a quote that has always been on my father's desk by Margaret Mead that has continually inspired me, and today I find it to be particularly relevant. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. To all my fellow graduates of 2021, I wish you the biggest of congratulations. We did it. Thank you.
Having spoken to you all individually on the stage, now gives me great pleasure to congratulate the cohort of today's graduates on their success. Be proud of what you've worked to achieve and remember those who supported you along the way. I wish you every success as you enter this next new and exciting stage of your life. As graduates of the University of Adelaide, you are also its alumni and its ambassadors. Over the years since the university was established, its alumni have made enormous contributions in this country and around the world. And today you join this community of over 147,000 alumni located in more than 134 countries around the globe. We have 17 global alumni networks, including 8 international networks. I would like to take the opportunity now to thank Mitchell, our mace bearer, and India, our valedictorian. Also, all of those who assisted in the organisation and running of today's ceremony. I ask now all of the graduates to remain seated, and I invite everyone else here to stand and once again join with me in congratulating the graduates on their achievements. Would the audience please now remain standing, and the graduates now please stand for the academic recession. Once the academic recession has left the hall, we ask guests to remain seated at your seats until directed to the exit by staff. I now declare this congregation closed.